Hey, well, I guess I better start talking for this thing. You ever had it when you get up one day and you're trying to get things moving, and everything you touch just goes to pee-pee water? Well, I've been battling with this computer situation here since about 9 a.m. So by about 10:30 a.m. I got tired of fiddle work. So I went in and had a cup of soup for breakfast. Just like that. Chicken noodle soup with rice. It's a progressive to progressive. Have you heard of progressive? It's like that. You know, it just gives it a soupy flavor. And then I have a box of chicken soup. Looks like, but this background music is too noisy. I had a double of the time trying to get Epidemic Sound royalty-free instrumental to play in the background. It's my background music. But I can't get it to play on my main station here. This computer. For some reason or other, I just can't seem to get it to play. Now, because then if I do, then I can plug this in here, and then I use the sound in here. I can't get it to play. So I did a workaround, and it's playing through my iPad here. So there we go. It's playing. You see right here. And if I hit this pause button, it stops. So it's playing. So let's leave it alone. And then go back to here. There we go. Because this is my the spot where all my news clippings are. Yeah. Alright, so we can hear Epidemic in the background. Hopefully it's not overtaking what's here, but it's taking me 2.5 hours including eating my soup. It's probably 20 minutes to do that. Maybe the darndest thing. But I gotta work around. It's playing through here, and then there's going through there. Instead of going through the soundboard, I can control the volume on my control station here. Here, I go up. Let's leave it like that and see what happens. It's playing directly through, so it's not low quality sound. I can hear it. Yeah, I guess I don't like it, but it's working. So let's leave well enough alone. There we go. Cover on that keyboard. Yeah. Well, obviously the big news of the day, of the week, actually, is this nasty old hurricane. Milton, would you believe it, Milton? Jeez. There was a comedian, his name was Milton Berle, and he was a stand-up comedian about 40 years ago. I don't think he's with us anymore. Uncle Milty. Well, Milton is the name of the storm, and it I get a recollection of Uncle Milty. Anyway, look at that defined eye. That's a problem. It's heading east northeast, something like that. So anyway, that's the path. My iPad Pro wouldn't work in the other room. And then it magically started working again. Yeah. There we go. October 8th, Tuesday. That's today. So tomorrow the storm is going to be really crowding. Yeah, there it is. This is a recent one. See, you could 10 Peninsula. It's progressed a little bit. Yeah. There you go. No, this is the 2 a.m. Eastern Time. Since 1 a.m. Central Daylight Time, which is the equivalent of 2 a.m. Eastern Time. Yeah. So okay. So this is 1 a.m. Tuesday. That's Central Time. So it's 2 a.m. Eastern Time. And the reason why it's got Central Time on there is because the storm is right now in the Central Time Zone instead of the Eastern Time Zone. When it gets over here, it'll probably switch over, and then it'll show whatever time. Eastern Daylight Time. Yeah. Anyway, it's moving east between 9 and 10 miles an hour. It's right about where the M is now. So it's progressed a bit, 10 miles an hour. Of note, the bottom, this cone of uncertainty. I call it the cone of certainty because it's certainly going to hit landfall somewhere in this cone. And I noticed that the southern line is now through Lake Okeechobee. It was on the top of Lake Okeechobee. So that line has moved down a bit. A little more southern, so they're getting a little nervous. And it's not going to go all the way up into Tampa. But the National Weather Service, they're tricky folks. They don't want to make Tampa off the hook. They want to keep Tampa on the hook. The National Weather Service. So they're a little political, these guys. They get a little tricky. So instead of shifting both lines down a little bit, they just shifted the southern line a bit. So there you see it. It's going straight through Lake Okeechobee. Yeah. I'm of the feeling, and believe me, I'm not a weather guy, that the landfall isn't going to be Tampa. It's going to be like Fort Myers. That, if I had to guess, that's what I would say. Which then, changes all these hurricane warnings and hurricane watches. They have to shift down all the, they got to do all the graphics again for what the storm surge is going to be, which would be terrific. When you get a 15-foot storm surge, that's like a 2-story building. So, you got all these houses start floating away. Yeah. And people hide in the attic, they drowned. Because the water goes all the way up. And their gutter has bent up, so the air goes through their nose. And then all of a sudden they drown like rats. Don't go in your attic. No. That's not a safe place to be. Because, that's why I say you can run from the wind. But, you can't run from the water. Yeah. And storm surge is the killer. It's 11:45. Did you hear that? Computer says, yeah. Whoops. Okay. Computer, stop. Yeah. Every time I gotta be careful if I use the word computer. Because you got all these listening ears. I have the station in my living room here set to computer. I also have one behind me that's set to react to computer. Computer, what time is it? There you go, 11:45 a.m. Right on the button. Anyway, so this is the talk of the town right here. Where Uncle Milty is going to cross over Florida. There is a relative certainty, let's just say relative certainty, that it is going to whack into Florida somewhere. And right now it's somewhere between Pinellas County and Lee County. Somewhere, expando this, right in the middle of the screen. It's somewhere south of the M and north of this line. Right in this, you can see, don't do it this way. Right in this area right there. I don't have a pointer. Oh, wait a minute, maybe I do. Let's go here. I do. I have a pointer. We'll circle it in green. Yeah, we'll use the green pen. There you go. Let's try this one to make it green. There we go, somewhere in that green circle. Let's do it one more time. This is important stuff. So now we're going to carefully make a green circle. And then we hold it for a second. Look at that. Makes a perfect circle. And we're going to say done. There we go. So to me, it's going to be somewhere, they always take the midpoint of this cone of uncertainty. I'm going to change it to the cone of certainty. And for some reason or other, they go right smack in the middle of it, and that's where it's going to go. Well, it's not necessarily going to go there. That gives you a shot right at Tampa, which would be, really terrible. Because, everywhere is terrible. Anywhere is terrible. But it's more terrible in Tampa because you have 3.5 million people headquartered in Tampa. Yeah, 3.5 million. So, that's a problem. And then you have So if you shift it, if it goes down to the somewhere south of the middle of that green circle, so through that southern line of the cone of certainty, which is going through Lake Okeechobee also, is the Fort Myers area. So it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be good no matter where it goes. But as far as, emergency preparedness and EMT people and all that kind of stuff, if you have a population center that's 500,000 instead of 3.6 million, that's why they, no one prefers anything. It has less life-changing impact if it goes a little bit to the south of the midpoint of that cone of certainty. And that, so that's what that's all about. And since they hit down that southern line a little bit, so that it intersects with Lake Okeechobee, the blue dot, right there. It's like in the middle of your screen. Yeah. Yep. So that's what all these graphs are. I'll go ahead and release that one. There we go. This is the, 1 a.m. Central Time. In 9 minutes. There should be another update from the National Weather Service. Let's just check it. Press H for hurricane. We got 2 of them. Milton is a powerful Category 5. Did it go up to 5? Let's take a look. Uncle Milty, let's take a peek. We should be here. What time is this one? Aha. So that's 11 a.m. Central Eastern Time. 11. Yeah, look. That's 52 minutes ago. So this is the most current one we got. Let's see. Line is still going through Lake Okeechobee. And that is now a hurricane watch because they circled it in that pink color. See? It's a little more narrow because it's getting closer. Yeah. So this is as of 10 a.m. Tuesday. And remember, this is Central Time. So it's 11 a.m. Eastern. So we're only 52 minutes off of where that spot right there, that's where it was. Instead it is. It's, a little closer to that M than it was. And we have the Keys. The did on the Keys is now a hurricane watch instead of a tropical storm watch, which is the southern tip of Florida and the northern Pensacola area. So as it gets closer, and what's the direction? East-northeast. So east, it hasn't made that big turn to the north yet because it's going east-northeast. Yep. All right. Good to, let's see, we do a print screen. I know what happens if I go in here. There it is. Yeah, I can. So I'm going to come up here. Come over here. Because we don't care where it is. It's Saturday. And come down here a little bit. Yep. So we can see the date and the time. It's advisory number 14. East-northeast at 9 miles an hour. The winds are back up to 150 miles an hour. And it's right smack in the middle of some really hot water. So, you can bet that sucker is going to, we're going to say done. Oh, wait a minute. My pen. Or maybe I have to do this first. Okay. Now go to pictures. That one. Pen. It's still up in green. And I'm going to draw a nice circle right here. There we go. That looks good. Done. Done. It's done. Hit the heart. Yeah. That's my prediction. Where's the green circle? I gotta do that right. No. Maybe. Getting confused on what these lines are. Alright, so we're going to go right around here. You can't draw a perfect circle, but if you just hold it, bingo, look at that. Perfect circle. Yes, we like it. Let's say done. It's done. It's done again. There we go. It's done. Yep, that's it. That's where we think it's going to go. Somewhere in that circle. Which still includes the center line. You know. Massive storm. And hurricane. Which means winds over, 74 miles an hour. Seems like they need to put an intermediary, like almost hurricane. You know, when you get over 55 miles an hour, how about an indication for that? You know, and then 74 miles an hour is hurricane. And, they captured there it is. See, these are the different categories. We need a category 0. That says 55 miles an hour to 74 miles an hour. Call that 1/2 instead of 1. And then they need another one on top of category 5, the number 6. There'd be 58 miles an hour. Oh, wait a minute. So category 5, that would be, so that's a 25 mile an hour. That's, interesting. So, 157 to 170, 176. And then you can say, 175 to 195, make that a Category 6. And if it gets over that, it's Category, oh crap. Yeah, so those are the breakdowns. 75, 96, 111, 130 to 156, so it's a Category 4 at the moment. But it is going to be a Category 5, in my humble opinion, in the next couple hours. Because it's pumping up over it's 12 o'clock. All right, I'm right in the lunch hour, so you guys can listen to me ramble on here about where this hurricane is going. I still think it's going right where that green circle is. Yep. And just so we know, hit the pen again. Yeah. And we're gonna do this. Hold it. There you go. Look at that perfect arrow. Done. That's what Jimmy thinks. It's gonna go straight over there, and Boca Raton, which is down over here, that's gonna be a slam dunger. Yeah. We're on the coast right here. A little catty corner from Lake Okeechobee, but we're on the coast. Good. All right, so we got that. We got the circle, we got the line. I've done all the diddling I can do on that. And here, look at that. That is the eye of the hurricane. Look at it. I was able to. There you go. You can see it. You can look right down through the middle of that thing. Because that's spinning at 155 miles an hour. The aircraft flies right through the middle of that sucker. And it looks like you're flying into a stadium, from the cockpit view. Because you see this wall of the eye wall. And it's moving around. I mean, it's not moving. It wouldn't look like it's going at this velocity. Yeah. That's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, I found that little GIF file. It's a real one. I can't edit it. You can see the edit thing has been turned off. I can duplicate it. I can hide it. I can do those things. Just gonna leave that alone. Yeah. Picture of a young lady bagging up bags of sandbags, trying to prevent water from going in, the apartment or the house, the first floor or whatever. But if they live somewhere between Tampa and Fort Myers, they're going to need more than bags. Because when you get a 15-foot storm surge, now, it's not like a big wave. Of course, it's wavy because you got all this wind. But the storm surge is when the storm, comes up to, the land on the bottom. Because it's spinning counterclockwise. And So this bottom quadrant right here, from wherever that storm, it forms a pocket, and the water is spinning this way. So the wind is pushing the water constantly with the whole strength of that storm. And of course, right near the eye, it's even more dramatic. So it's pushing that water, this quadrant right there, at the bottom, from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, right? That bottom quadrant right there, there's all this water being pushed up into the state of Florida. It pushes it up. And the storm is moving. Winds are going at, 150 miles an hour in the middle, and maybe 120 miles on the outside edge of that, of the storm, of the central part of the hurricane force winds. It's complicated. It pushes that water up into there. So depending on where the landfall is where the focal point of the pushing of the water. If it would hit for the middle point of that circle that I grew in green, right? Because this is the cone of certainty, and then you have. I'm saying it's going to be. The eye is going to come in south of Tampa. But if the center of the rotation of the storm is below Tampa, then it would not push water up into, the opposite effect would be true. The further south that the eye wall hits the coast of Florida, then the amount of water that pushes up into Tampa diminishes greatly. Very greatly. And 3.5 million people, and all the houses and the restaurants and office buildings. Oh, all this sand and crap. And so let's clean up. Anyway, if it goes down towards Fort Myers, it affects fewer number of people. It affects the area drastically. There's no offset to that, but at least it's drastically to 500,000 potential people instead of 3.6 million. So you got the SAC command base, you got University of South Florida, the first 2 floors of that office building, underwater because of the storm surge. You've got UCF, right? So you got 2 universities in the Tampa area. You got the SAC command base. You got a big football stadium arena. A lot of office buildings. Marilyn and I lived in Tampa for 10 years. I love it. I absolutely love that city. Because it's got all these things that I just mentioned. It's a beautiful equal balance of youth and age, and the average age in the area is 10 or 20 years lower. Over here on the East Coast, everyone's older. You don't have a SAC command base. You don't have all that military stuff. You got FAU, that's a university. So that's a 30,000 student university, which yours truly is son. adjunct faculty at Florida Atlantic University. Yes, I am. Since 2003. Since October 2003. When I had my book published for the first time. It was reprinted in 2007. Yeah. Keep on sending them to get a copy of it. October 2000, October. Yeah, I've got a few copies. And I got 5 or 10 copies in the storage unit down there. It's got a lot of dust on them. Yeah. Anyway, thanks to Dr. John Harlan, who introduced me to the acquisitions editor of Pearson Education. Now, Pearson Education, they're the big boys in the business of publishing. They are the largest, actually, educational publisher in the United States, I believe. So it's not like it's the Okefenokee Press. We are published by Pearson Education. And, I'm kind of proud of that. So this lady walks in when, you meet for the first time. Dr. Harlan, John Harlan, who is the chair of something in the College of Science. The Charles E. Schmidt College of Science, he had a chair in the world of academics, which I'm not. Harlan is respected, world-renowned. He had a chair. I'm still standing. I don't have a chair. I've been there 20 years, a little more, and no chair for Jimmy. No. So Harlan had a chair, and he introduced me. And so he was big, hot tomatoes, in the academic world. He was hot stuff, yes, sir. It's not like he's not hot stuff now, he's just not there. Because he retired, went over to Sarasota, and I imagine he's still there. And anyway, so he was good enough to introduce me, made an appointment in his office to meet with the acquisitions editor of Pearson Education. So, I'm 45 at the time, and she's probably 38 at the time. Harlan is 50 at the time. I think he's a little so he introduces me to the acquisitions editor. She walks in there, she's got a 3-ring binder. That's one of these 4-inch jobs. It's really thick. Hardcover. And it's got all these tabs, 2 or 3 different sections of tabs. So we're talking, and how are you stuff, and how do you know Harlan, and welcome to FAU, and I'm the acquisitions editor, and what have you got for me? So I reach into my briefcase and I pull out a copy of my book that I had printed at Kinko on the paper, the thickness of the paper, 110 pound stock, because it's a laboratory manual kind of a book. It's not like a Bible. Heavy pages, opened up flat, spiral binding, so that it opens flat, so there's you don't have to hold the crease down and pages flip over, because you're going to be doing laboratory work and you're going to make notes. In my book I have places where you can write notes. I even drew lines on there so you can take notes right on the book, on the pages. You can stick pages. About the thickness of a business card, of a regular Not a book business card, a standard business card. Yeah. And the cover was even heavier than that. And I did the cover, and I did the back, and I did what I knew about the copy inside the cover, the page facing the cover, where you put FAU and all that stuff, and then you have my name on there and all that. Yeah, I did that. Well, Harlan had a meeting of all his people in the College of Science, and they admitted me as an adjunct faculty into the August group of FAU. There were like 14, 15 PhDs in there at the time. I had to meet with 2 or 3 of them. Harlan said, these are the guys that always talk in the meeting. Everyone else is taking a nap. So I want you to meet these 2 or 3 guys, because we don't want them asking embarrassing questions when I'm going to bring you up to be admitted to the College of Science as adjunct. So I met a couple of the guys, and yeah, we yucked it up, and it's very good. They're different. They're scientists, and I'm almost a scientist. Yeah. Yep, and I wrote about digital imaging and told them all about the image editing business and the post-image processing. I showed them a copy of my book. No, sir, you can't have this. It's the only one I got. But if the educational publisher does their job, we'll have a bunch of them here for you. But I have to keep all this. If you're super interested in, I can email you a copy of the transcript, which is a huge PDF file. So I think he was satisfied with that. So that was a meeting. Right before he had the meeting, the staff meeting. I think it's like once a week staff meeting, and they put me through as adjunct faculty of the August Atlantic University College of Science, the Charles E. Schmidt College of Science. Yeah. Very cool, yeah. And 17 days later, my book was published. Harlan looks at me, he says, Jimmy, he said, I think you have the record shortest period of time from the time you were put on the faculty to the point where you were a published author. It only took you 18 days. I don't think anyone here has published a book within 18 days of being put on the faculty. I think you have the record fastest time. Yep. Pretty quick. I mean, I wrote the book before they put me on the faculty, so it was kind of a slam dunk. The 17 days was the number of days it took the acquisitions editor to give me, $40,000 contract to buy the book. That's how it goes. You meet with the acquisitions editor. I didn't know. What do I know about book publishing? Not much. No, zero actually. I didn't really sit around and imagine how it worked. So it took me 700 hours to write the book. I kept tab of that. It was 700 hours. That's like a half a year. Third of a year, half a year, working, all day, every day. Wrote the book, did all the graphics, took the pictures, 24 chapters. Harlan said add some science in front of it. And so I added, the science of the pixel and all that stuff, digital imaging stuff. It's good, and I captured some images out of a book that was published by DK Publishing, which was convenient because Pearson Education happens to own DK Publishing. And she said, oh, I'll have no problem getting permissions for that. Or, you have to get permission from that publisher to use their artwork in our book. And I remember her saying, oh, wonderful. DK Publishing, we own that publishing company, so we should have no trouble getting permission to use their artwork in your book. How cool is that? So anyway, so you meet with the acquisitions editor, and it means exactly what she said. She said she looked up the tabs in her 3-ring binder, and then she looked in another part of her 3-ring binder. It seems like she looked at 2 different subsections, and she says, Mr. Wilson, I believe your book is unique. And I said, well, thank you very much. She said, no, I mean, she says, we haven't published anything like it. So we'd be happy to publish your book. It's marvelous. It is unique. Yes, it is. I wrote it myself. I did not copy it, I promise. I wrote it word for word. Yep. And there's a lot of steps. So, you do a step, and then I have to write it on my keyboard. And then you do the next step, and then you got to type it exactly on your keyboard. So that you're, telling them, your audience, or the people that are reading the book, step by step, how to perform these image editing tools on a program called Photoshop Express. Which I just opened up here. There you go. And then you touch up here, and then you can image edit. Yeah. Shows all the pictures. Yeah, we're not going to do it. Alright. So I wrote the book. Acquisitions editor says your book is unique. So then from there, she says, Mr. Wilson, it'll take me about 10 days. Could be 2 weeks, but as early as 10 days. Because you solved a lot of the problems with the publishing of the book. Because you actually gave me a prototype of the book. She said, that's also, I've never been given a prototype of a book before. I said, well, you can't say that again. Yeah. So she said, yeah, this is usually a manuscript with a clip on the top, Maybe they have it in a folder where they got hundreds of pages of typed, margin notes and this and that. You got it all done. All I got to do is replicate this. I said, yes. And I'm giving you a 150 megabyte PDF file. So that's a acceptable file format? Yes. I said, well, here it is digitally, and there it is right in front. I said, please do it just like this. I made the prototype for you, so there'd be no question. I did the cover art. I did the back cover art. All the text and everything written there, I wrote myself. And, we just turn on the presses and put it on this kind of paper and bind it with a spiral bind the way I have it bound here. The images that we use, they're on a CD-ROM. Here's the CD-ROM. I put it in a little package in the back of the book cover. Do it just like that. She said, that's perfect. Yeah, you've taken all the question marks out of this one. We'd be happy to do this, Mr. Wilson. When are you going to write your next book? Can you believe it? I'm working on it now. Principles of Forensic Digital Imaging. I'm working on it with Dr. Henry Lee. She said, oh, who's that? I said, well, remember the O.J. Simpson case? The Chinese gentleman that works out of University up there in Connecticut. New Haven, Connecticut. Dr. Henry used the blood spatter expert and looked at the blood spatter on the walls and the floor with the O.J. Simpson trial. So the defense team hired Dr. Henry Lee. And that's how many people got to know who Dr. Henry Lee was. He sent me some images of crime scenes, and I'll be writing a book about how to develop images for the purpose of developing, let's call it developing images. Whoops, I have a phone call. Hold on a second here. Hello?
Could you check the Publix prescriptions for me? Something came up, but it's only 76 cents. I don't think that's wrong. I'm right now in my desk.
Alright, I got it right here. Oops. Prescriptions? Alright. Ready to pick up 3 items. 2 of them online. 1 of each. It was probably you had a refill for prednisone, which I delivered to you. Look it over. We're looking to see if you have Wegovy 1.7, correct?
Right.
No.
I don't know why they're being so difficult.
So I'd call the pharmacist. Call the pharmacy and look and see it.
Okay. Alright, I'll try that. Bye.
Yeah, call the pharmacy and have them,
Okay.
look for it. It may be sitting in bin. I haven't noticed.
Alright.
They'd have to go back at least a week.
Alright.
What? All right. You had how about that? We'll have to see how that phone call sounds over the internet and with all this stuff. We didn't talk about anything too sensitive. The darndest time trying to get public pharmacy and or doctor. It's everything's electronic now. They don't they type and push buttons and things, just like we do. And oftentimes, the wires don't connect. The doctor's office says they sent it, and then the pharmacy says we didn't get it. So to try to get them to send it again is like an act of a religious act. Alright, so we're in the middle of this hurricane thing, and we were talking about storm surge. So the storm surge really comes at a culmination when you got the center of rotation is counterclockwise, coming across the state of Florida from west to east. The lower quadrant is pressure for pushing water inland with the storm, because it's surging, it's rotating, with these winds that are up to 150 miles an hour. You might say the outer winds are 120 miles an hour. But, you know, all that, you have all that cyclonic counterclockwise activity. So the southern part of the storm, from the midpoint of the eye, going outward, that southern part of the rotation, if you were to draw lines, which I did, right there, you can see the circle. So this quadrant down here, this southwestern quadrant, is, you know, the hard part. And that's where the water gets pushed up. So as the storm is moving at 10 miles an hour, assuming it's between 9 and 12 miles an hour, forward motion, going this way, in the direction of that arrow. This right here, this quadrant, this blue quadrant right down here, that is where the storm surge is. And it's pushing water into the canals and the inlets and, you know, all that waterfront property that gets this storm surge. And they say it's up to, you know, be 15 feet tall, 15 feet high, 15 feet on top of high tide. So if it comes in at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., it keeps sliding that time back a little bit. So it looks like it's going to be early morning on Thursday. And, you know, when it's dark, of course. You know, couldn't do it at nighttime. It has to do it at the north. And you got lightning and thunder and all these storms, and oh my God, it's whew. Yeah, that'll be a mess. And this is a Jimmyism. You haven't heard it from the National Weather Service yet. And I don't know what's the matter with these dum-dums, but the Everglades, the middle part of the state, where Lake Okeechobee is, if I were to draw another oblong circle right over the whole middle of that state, it's called the Everglades. And it's hot. It's real hot. That water is like 2 feet deep. The sun's hitting it. You got brown weeds, burnt, you know, not burnt, you know, bent over weeds, you know, living stuff, whatever. It's a swamp. And it is hot. The water temperature there could be 95 degrees instead of 85, 87 degrees in the Gulf, which is hot. But it's not as hot as 93 or 40. So when the storm comes over that hot water, it's like energy. It's like pouring gas on a, you know, on an already burning fire. So when the storm goes over the Everglades, it's going to, the strength of the storm, instead of decreasing, will increase. Usually when the storm goes over land, you know, land, buildings, trees, you know, interfere with the airflow of this rotation of the storm, slows it down a bit, but not when it goes over this hot peninsula, because that is steamy hot water, and when a hurricane goes over that, it's going to absorb energy instead of deplete energy. So instead of depleting energy into the trees and all the stuff that's in its way, so to speak, it ends up absorbing energy from the Everglades and increasing its strength. So if it comes in as a Category 3, it may come out as a Category 3 on the other side. You know, that wind speed may not change at all. It may go up a little bit. I mean, that's what happened. Wilma came across this way. And I'm not a big one to memorize all the names of the storms, but I remember Wilma because the eye went right over our house when we lived at 384 Northwest 9th Terrace in Old Floresta. Yep, the corner of the eye went right over our property. So we experienced the eye for about 20 minutes. And it's amazing, you have the eye, you got all this wind and rain and high winds, and then all of a sudden, it's sunny out, so to speak. It was actually a little part of cloudy. But, yeah, in theory, if it has a nice clean eye, you look up and you can see the sun or the blue sky, at least the blue sky. I looked up and saw, like a gray sky. So, '81 outside, 73 inside. Anyway, so we saw the eye of the storm. My son called me and said, "Dad, the eye of the storm is going over your place right now. Let's see it on the radar." Of course, our power was already off. So, you conserve your batteries. Anyway, so he told me the eye's going over. All of a sudden, the eye's over there. Crazy. So, that's why I remember Wilma. And Wilma, Dr. John Harlan, at the time, he told me a couple days later, he said, "Jimmy, over your general area where you live, I see gusts of 200 miles an hour." I said, "Wow." Yeah, it was peeling the roof tiles off our roof. You could hear them clopping up the roof. It was pushing them up. Oh my God. And I had a whole bunch of tile marks on my car. A month later, I drove my car in to the insurance adjuster's office, and she was looking at all these dents. She said, "We'll pay you $150 per dent." So I'm adding them up right now. I said, "Oh God." So she said, "It'll take me another 10 minutes or so." So I have a seat, sir. So I sit down in the lobby, and about 15 minutes later, she comes out with a check. And she hands it to me. She said, "We can give you $5,600 adjustment to fix your car." I said, "Oh, thank you so much." She said, "We're wrapping up operations here in a couple of days, so thank you very much for getting here in time." I said, "Yeah, thank you." So I walked out of there with $5,000. Oh, Lordy. Yep. We're going to give you $150 per dent. You gotta be kidding. The whole thing was like pockmarked. I turned the car in, the lease car, Honda. They never even said a word about the little pockmarks. I was prepared to pay all kinds of penalties for turning in a car with a bunch of pockmarks. And, yeah, so that was a $5,000 gain. I used that to fix the roof. Anyway, that's how I know Wilma. And Dr. Harlan said the storm was actually increasing as it was passing over, Florida. And this hurricane could have the same experience, but the people on the east coast of Florida, which is where I am, could experience a very strong exit of that storm. Now, as it comes out the other side, we get the reverse effect because the winds are going to be coming from the land to the water, so it's going to tend to push the water away. So canals and things would tend to drain out instead of fill up. And then when the storm passes, then all the water comes back. All this takes, hours. But it's an interesting cycle of the canal system to see the water coming and going, much more rapidly than you notice with the gradual tides that you get because of the gravitational force of the moon. Anyway, so Maryland's bank, Seacoast Bank, was sent out a memo. They're closing up tomorrow. They should consider closing on Thursday also. This Thursday morning, I think, is when this company's going to whack a doodle. They got branches all over South Florida. $11 billion worth of deposits in South and Central Florida, from Stewart to Miami. Yep. Marilyn is a financial center manager for the Boca Raton office of Seacoast Bank. Yes, she is. And she's looking for a prescription, which is not found yet. All right. Let's see. How's our? Let me get my. There it is. All right. So we've been talking 1 hour and 7 minutes. I've watched that. Yeah, it's a little bright. Now you can see it. Yes. I tried to have it so hard. The dining office, or dining pleasure. People here. They're watching me. Yakety yakety. So, our name is. You got a recent image. But we're not going to have a storm. We're going to have the reverse effect of a storm surge. And here's a bunch. You see all those cars? They're all heading north. They're on I-75, probably. You can see the cars going that way. There's not much traffic going in that direction, but there's a whole lot of traffic going in that direction. As you can see here. Yep. Those are the tail lights, and these are headlights. And that's called Let's Get Out of Dodge. Yep. That was yesterday. The roads will be tied up today, too. SpaceX is all ready to launch their Mars Starship rocket. Yep. They're all ready to blast off at 5:30 p.m. on October 13th, which is 5 days from now. And the FAA has not they're into regulatory approval, and they had not given their approval yet because of safety concerns. Well, SpaceX has addressed all the safety concerns, and they're waiting for the FAA to get off its fanny and review the safety concern mitigation list that SpaceX has undergone so that they can continue with test flight number 5. And in this case, if you can see this, there's calipers here that are holding the spaceship from flipping over. I'm putting it right there. Yeah. Those calipers in the center of the screen there. Yep. That holds it. Well, when it's see you see right here. See this? There's another set of calipers up on the top here. So when it's time to blast off, that set of calipers and this set of calipers open up, and then it tilts back about 3 degrees for the blast off. And then it tips back a little even further than 3 degrees, goes back maybe 15 degrees, so that the blast from the rocket engines doesn't damage the superstructure here. And then these big calipers up on the top, that's what's going to catch this big booster when it returns to the Space Center in around Corpus Christi, Texas, right on the edge of the water. And they have, you see, they're erecting another one of those, so they have 2 of them. Because they're going to have it so that it captures both pieces. But they're going to do the booster part this time. And I think they're going to, I don't know whether the first stage is going to be in low Earth orbit or what the plan is with Test 5. But I know Test 5 should be attempting to catch this big 230 foot tall maybe 16, I think it's 32 feet in diameter. I mean, it's huge. There's 33 engines on the bottom of this thing. And of course, they don't want to lose all that, you know, so that's where they catch it, and then they can spruce it up and reuse it again. They have a successful, you know, rocket with 9 engines in the bottom. Merlin engines, if I have that terminology right. So, it's amazing how they can steer that back and have it caught by the, they're going to see, they can catch it. And that's, you know, I mean, that's crazy unbelievable. Elon says, yeah, there's a good chance we can catch it. There's a good chance if they don't, it's going to be, you know, one big mess of a, you know, a launch pad. Because that thing can come crashing down instead of this thing catching it. But, you know, it's computer controlled, and, you know, the precision of the software now is so exacting. I don't want to use the word precise after I use the word precision. We mix up the words a little bit so we sound like we're academic. Yeah, I pretend academic. Yeah. So the software is so highly detailed, and the actuators that, you know, can the steering little jets on the bottom and the top, and they can rotate a little bit. So, you know, these 2 big, there's, you see these notches on the top end there. They have to be oriented in such a way that the calipers can catch it. If those little flippers are this way, there won't be any notch to catch it. So it has to have some rotational skills. So does those notches are perpendicular to those calipers. Yep. And then it's brought, it can settle down right on those calipers. You know, they close. That's my caliper. So when it's taken off, it opens up wide so it can fit through there. You know, not bounce off there. You know, it wants to have a clean exit from that launch pad. The calipers are going to close down when and it's time to catch that booster. And it's going to land. And these fins right here are the other things that the calipers would be used to catch it. They would catch it right on those fins. I believe that this test fire is going to attempt to catch the booster, the first stage, on these fins that are sticking out right there. I understand they're made of tungsten, a very strong element that is so much stronger than steel, and the heat resistance capability, and because it goes, remember, this thing's going to go through the deceleration in the atmosphere and until you get hot, as this thing re-enters the Earth's atmosphere, which is only a couple hundred miles up. So not that high. There's a story about McDonald's is struggling. Its big French fry supplier is laying off people because they're not buying as many French fries. Apparently, people are cutting back on the eating of French fries. So it's causing their main supplier of the potatoes that are all sliced and ready to go, and they put them in bags and they freeze them, and then they retrieve those bags from the freezer and make French fries out of them for a hungry audience that's eating less French fries, apparently, even though they're the best French fries on the planet. People are eating less of them. Maybe they're just getting a standard size French fry instead of the super duper big size, which you don't need the super duper. You could get, if you're going to have a French fry attack, just get a regular order of French fries for 89 cents, whatever the hell it is. You don't need a $3 bundle of French fries. You just stuff them down, and when you're halfway down, the French fries aren't as good as when you started, so order the smaller one. Well, apparently people are either not ordering them or ordering the smaller one, or some mix thereof. That's why this panel was produced this morning. Americans are revolting against McDonald's fast food chain. Revolting? Now, come on. They're just eating less French fries. They're not revolting. There's the hurricane. There's the eye. That's an infrared imaging GOES satellite. GOES satellite, E1, I believe. You can have it there. Oops. GOES, looks like an E1. The floater. You can go back to the hurricane app and grind out another one. This is the 10 a.m., which is 11 a.m. Eastern time. It's 12, so it's an hour old. Here it is. The southern line, just a little reference point, as we keep an eye on this thing over the next 24 hours. You see 7 a.m. Wednesday, then 7 p.m. Wednesday. It's getting ready to crash in Florida. So it's about 12 hours off of the original path when the storm was formulating over here in the middle of the Gulf. So now it's 7 a.m. Thursday. It's going to be impacting the entire state of Florida. So I sent this. I should have said this to Maryland. so she can pass it up the chain of command, because they're worried about their precious people in the middle of a hurricane. And they look out for Thursday. Okay. Yep. Thursday afternoon, it's over here. Pretty much out of the way. You see, then it turns into a tropical storm instead of a hurricane by 7 a.m. Friday. Yep. 10 a.m. Tuesday, or 11 a.m. Tuesday Eastern. It's right there. So you got it. 7 p.m. Wednesday. So you got 36 hours. And then watch out. It's going to get a little nasty out there. Alright, so I'll let you go. There we go. And I got all kinds of graphics here. Storm, and there's the storm surge. Okay, surge. So if it comes down here, you know, where it's gonna do that white dot right there, that's Fort Myers. So where it says 6 to 10 feet, that's going to be 10 to 15 feet. That whole storm surge graphics, the purple and the red, is going to slide down, assuming that the landfall is going to be more centered towards Fort Myers instead of Tampa, which of course would be good news for Tampa, because that means the surge would be cut way back, you know, because if you're on the backside, if the center of rotation is over the line, then they wouldn't get a surge. It'd be way lower. You know, it'd be in the 3 to 5 foot range. But all these statistics would then go south with it. That's probably why they're not changing it, because it's a lot of, you know, then how do you get that information distributed to everybody that needs to know? But they need, you know, if the storm is not going to go quite as north as they think, then, you know, everyone south of the storm needs to, you know, button up the hatches even more. You're going to have 15 feet of water. 15 feet above the tide. So I don't know when high tide is, but 15 feet above high tide, which could add another couple feet to it, you could have a 20-foot wall of water. That's 2-foot story. It just swells up. You know, it's not like a wave. It's just it's a swelling. The water level just rises. And you better be a good swimmer. You know, add that to 100 mile an hour winds, 120 mile an hour winds. You know, you got roofs blowing off. Because this storm is a, you know, 150, 180 mile an hour wind maybe. And it's going to go over the hot lands of Florida. So it ain't going to slow down much, if any. It could be a ripper-upper, you know, of the highest order. It's going to be. Just plan on it. It's just a matter of where. It's better if it edges south. It's not better for us, necessarily. Then we'd have, you know, higher winds. You know, high-rise building here. We're not going anywhere. We got hurricane everything. There's too much power to go up. Because then it gets hot. I got batteries and fans and a couple of DeWalt fans. The yellow fans that, not the big ones. but the fan blades are, 14 inches in diameter, which then, it's a highly portable fan which contractors use, to get the wind blowing when they're grinding concrete. And they take the boards off when they pour the concrete, and they hit to grind the columns, the hard edges off. These fans, contractor would have two of these, push in the air away from where he's working because of the big cloud of concrete dust. And these fans are designed to be in that kind of an environment. So, but here they're, I got them new, so there's no concrete dust on them. And I have one here. Smell. Yeah, I got two of them. They're in that well. So I should get those out. That one's nice. They're good, they're handy. Yeah, I used them a couple of times in the kitchen, when your Brian gets the pan real hot and you throw things in a real hot pan and saute them. Throws off a little smoke. So to empty out the smoke out of the kitchen, I had two of them, one blowing out and one blowing, towards the sliding glass doors to get the smoke out of the kitchen. Yeah. Now we use them to, power goes off. We use them to circulate 80-degree air in our apartment. It's 81.1 degrees. 95% humidity. Inside, I'm looking right down here. It's 73.6 degrees, 58% relative humidity inside here. 81 outside, 95% humidity. There's a gauge hanging out there. I've got two of these. I have three of these temperature readers that read off the same outdoor unit that's hanging outside. I've got it glued on the wall outside the patio. So when the sun is long gone, so 81.1 degrees outside here, sunny Boca Raton, and 72 degrees inside, which is a little high for here. I'm going to have to check here. It's almost 74 degrees in there. This is a little cooler than the rest. So 73 is a little cooler. The apartment must be not so cool. Let's get that fixed up before something goes haywire. There's a system update, software update to the MacBook. Yeah. I think I just did a software update for this iPad. Let's go ahead and get the beta. Come on. I got scared of the beta. Here we go. It's going to come up. Alright, everybody. That's an hour and a half. I'm about talked out. I got stuff to do. Yep, there you go. Software update. We're going to update now. 7.87 gigabytes. iPad 18.1 Beta 3. Yep, that's what we need. Let's see about this one. Beta is on. Let's put beta on. Not you. This one. No, not developer. We just went public beta. We're not a developer. Update now. Yeah, 7.48 gigabytes. You can see it. It has requested the update. And then it's going to give you one more chance to bail out. It's the bottom. Alright, on that happy note, I will talk to you tomorrow morning, maybe. Or today, if there's something important to talk about. But let's sign off now. And, hope you enjoyed. That's kind of like the jury rig that they get Epidemic on here. Instant to get Epidemic to work on my MacBook. So maybe the MacBook software update will, there's tens of thousands of Apple beta people, which I'm one of them. And someone surely has notified Apple. YouTube Music is playing on the version of the software I got on the MacBook. It's not playing. It's not working. I can't get it to do it, no matter what I do. So we'll see if this update fixes that problem. That's what beta is all about. You have to fix all these little thingies. It's a very, very sophisticated, complicated operating system. And these iPad Pros and the iPhone and the MacBook, devices. You got 5 years worth of these devices. And it's a very closed system. But it's very sophisticated. The computers that are behind the iPad, inside the iPad. Amazon's trying to sell me an iPad. Funny. No, thank you. Computer, what time is it? Yes, it is. Computer. Tesla is getting ready to release their humanoid-looking robot called Optimus. And the latest that I heard is that they're going to be offering it to the public for $10,000 a copy. Where you can lease them. Sign a 2-year lease or a 3-year lease on Optimus for like $100 a month. I asked Marilyn, I said, for $100 a month, I think I'd want one of those. Because I could teach it to go take the trash out, walk down the hallway with my bag of trash and open up the trash chute room and put it in there. Show it exactly how to do it. In the training mode, right? Here's how you do the dishes. And I can have this little robot following me around in the apartment all day long. I teach it all kinds of things. Give me something to do. She said, yeah, $100, $200 a month. I can buy into that. I said, good. That's next year. So that would make this building crazy. If I have a robot walking down the hallway with my bag of trash on there. I think I'd have to write on it something, about, apartment 812. So they know there's a place for this thing. It's not roaming the hallways. Can you imagine? That would be the talk of the town. He's got himself a robot. Yeah. I mean, now you're talking futuristic, unbelievable. Elon Musk, what are you doing to us? Yeah, oh my God. Maybe I could put the robot in the car, teach it how to drive. We go into the Florida Motor Vehicle Division, get Robbie the robot licensed. Yeah, that would be. By then, the cars would drive themselves. You wouldn't need, Robbie the robot sitting there in the driver's seat. You're just a passenger because the car's going to drive itself. You're not going to worry about having to have the robot drive the car because the car will drive itself. If you have a Tesla or a Mercedes-Benz, you do remember that Tesla bought Mercedes-Benz last week. I mean, it's like, what? Who bought Mercedes-Benz? Tesla? Oh, God. Elon Musk now owns Mercedes-Benz. So there's going to be like a little migration of technologies. And, why not? Everyone loves, a lot of people love the way the Mercedes-Benz is. A lot of people love the way what do you call it? The Tesla is. And now Elon Musk bought Tesla. Elon Musk bought, Mercedes-Benz. So, the electric technology and the manufacturing technology that Tesla enjoys can be integrated in the family of the Mercedes-Benz family of cars. Yeah, the self-driving. Maybe there are features of the self-driving software that Mercedes-Benz is working on would be able to be integrated with the software that Tesla has already, developed, which is a constant state of development. I mean, there's a lot of busy people in the Tesla company and the Mercedes company to deal with all the software, hardware, manufacturing, the way the cars look. I mean, some people, self-included, really love the way the Mercedes-Benz looks. So we could have some models, in theory, that are manufactured in the Tesla organization that have the look and the feel and the appeal of the Mercedes-Benz, manufactured right there in the Texas factory. They have a separate line of cars. Mercedes, a couple of cars that have the Mercedes look and appeal, but fully manufactured in the Tesla factories, with all the robotics that Tesla has. They could manufacture a Mercedes, just give us the blueprint. Set up a factory line. And then you got little Mercedes-Benzes coming out. The baby port. Yeah, oh my God. Phew. What a deal. Musk is a busy bee. You know, he has an unbelievable influence over the management of Tesla, since he's one of the largest, if not the largest shareholder. They just received a huge bundle of Tesla stock, which is probably exactly, he's used a bunch of that to go buy Mercedes, you know, in some kind of an exchange. Yeah. Tax-free exchange. A big one. As both companies exchange shares. You know, you don't sell the shares and hit with the capital gains and then rebuy the shares of a similar company. You can do a tax-free exchange. It's a similar kind of business, and of course it is. Yeah, that would be a big tax-free exchange. Well, 1 hour, 41 minutes. We're done. So you all have a great afternoon. I'm going to, we'll talk soon. Maybe tomorrow, maybe late tonight.